Hi guys, Nameless Crusader here with the Justice Crew of Oshawa. I've been wanting to do a series of videos now, mostly oriented towards beginner real-life superheroes or people who are thinking about getting into being one. So I thought, why not start with a video about RLSH beginner basics? So hopefully this video can serve as a useful guide to those of you who are just starting out. Whether you were inspired by Kick-Ass, other real-life superheroes, or even comic books. Welcome to the rewarding and colorful world of real-life superheroes. Thanks for taking the step to becoming something more, a symbol for humanity. In this video, I'll cover 4 important topics that every beginner real-life superhero should be informed about. What a real-life superhero is, how you fit with the law, gear selection, and the risks and expectation of being out there doing this. While I'm not one of the larger, more well-known real-life superheroes out there, I have been at this a while, with plenty of life experience, so hopefully you take what I say to heart. However, always have an open mind, and feel free to disagree with anything presented in this video. Also, while useful for all beginner real-life superheroes, laws change from country to country. This guide is particularly geared towards Canadian RLSH, real-life superheroes, so you'll notice things are a bit more passive and defensive, by necessity, than our American counterparts, and I'll actually get to why later on in the video. So first topic is, what exactly is a real-life superhero? Might seem like a silly question to some, but most people would agree that there's a dividing line between a real-life superhero and a vigilante. While a vigilante takes the law into their own hands, a real-life superhero stays on the good side of the law and works with law enforcement. If you're doing it right, the police should be happy to have you out there on the streets, and your interactions with them, while some might be a little bit apprehensive, should be peaceful and informative. A good way to start this process is for your first patrol and every patrol henceforth, have you or someone on your team phone into the local police dispatch and let them know what you're doing, your general appearance, and the rough area you'll be in. Both teams I work with do this, the Justice Crew of Oshawa and the Trillium Guards of Ontario. And it's almost night and day the response you get from passing police. So, what types of things should you be doing as a real-life superhero? It's not my place to tell you what you should be doing. It's your call as to what path you choose. I can only provide some ideas. That aside, here's some popular mission types amongst the RLSH community. There's safety patrols, where you patrol around keeping an eye out for trouble and danger. Charity events, where you donate your time and effort to reputable organizations. Litter cleanup of local parks and playgrounds. Anti-bullying campaigns. Fundraisers. These are all useful missions that could serve as a useful starting point for you. A final important trait to remember is your persona and how you carry yourself. Be kind, be respectful, be open-minded. Do not judge others, even though they will most certainly judge you. Lead by example. Most importantly, be humble. So remember, when you put on that mask, you represent more than just being a single person. For our second topic, let's go a little further in depth with how you work with the local police. The number one thing to talk about, and a hot topic amongst the community, is the topic of weapons. When it comes to Canada in particular, weapons are universally a no-go for real-life superheroes. Canada's laws on weapons are very strict. No batons, no pepper spray, not even any flashlights past a certain length. If it can even remotely be considered a weapon, it's best left at home. So, what about physically defending yourself or others? Unfortunately, Canadian laws on self-defense are also fairly strict. Avoid physical confrontation if possible, and never make the first strike. If you find yourself in an unavoidable physical altercation, such as being cornered, or someone is in immediate danger, if at all possible, don't strike back. Use your armor as a shield. If at this point you have no choice but to strike back, fight with only the intent to create an opening to get yourself and the other party to safety. If you do happen across something that requires emergency attention, notify 911 before injecting yourself into the situation, and leave the line open. This lets the operator record the audio of the situation, which is very, very useful evidence, and also lets emergency services triangulate your position if the situation calls for it. If you're lucky enough to have a team, have a dedicated team member stay back on the line with 911. And finally, as previously mentioned, make sure the police are aware of when and where you'll be out, as well as a general description of what you look like. Call into the police dispatch before heading out, and they'll put a broadcast out to all the cruisers that are out on patrol to let them know that you're going to be out. It makes them far less apprehensive towards you. They may still stop and talk to you and take pictures of you, but as long as you cooperate and abide by this guide, you should be in the clear. Just make sure to be polite and courteous with them. If things are done right, you should feel like you're of help to them, rather than getting in their way. Now, the third topic that we're going to cover is the topic of gear selection. And that topic can be a long, long conversation, as there is much choice as to how you go to gear up and go out. So I'm just going to cover some of the basics. First thing I want to talk about is something I call the gear paradigm. Think of it as a 4-pointed star chart with agility and defense on opposite sides, and friendliness and stealth on opposite sides. Your combined outfit will fall somewhere on this chart. You'll notice as you start leaning towards one aspect of this chart, you get further away from the other attributes, especially the one that's the polar opposite. For instance, the more defensive your suit gets, the less agile you'll be, and the more friendly your suit is, colors and whatnot, the less stealthy you'll be. And by stealthy, I mean your ability to blend into a crowd and not, stick out and draw attention from passerby. Think of it like going out in your civilian clothes. That's what I mean by stealth. So pay close attention to where your gear falls in this chart, as it will have a big role in how you operate in the field. If your gear is very defensive, you might be able to take a few hits and shrug them off. If you're leaning towards friendly, you might serve well as the public face of your team. Stealthy outfits might be better suited to solo patrols and observation, and agile suits are good for rougher terrain. So let's talk about equipment itself. There are so many things that can be useful on patrol, but more isn't always better. Stick to things that have either multiple functions or are a necessity. Some common equipment is flashlights, first aid kits, spare change, homeless handouts, ID for the police, caution tape, a notebook, a whistle, and disposable cameras for evidence or suspect photography. I carry all of those with me when I'm out on patrol. And almost as important as what you carry is how you carry it. If everything's in your backpack, it's going to be hard to get to, and in a worst case scenario, it could be invaluable time wasted taking off your backpack and fishing out whatever it is you needed. It's a good idea to wear something like a tactical vest like I do, or a battle belt where things are easily accessible. Your gear and equipment are half the battle. Wear and use these things that are useful but also comfortable to be in for long periods of time. The fourth and final topic is how you conduct yourself while you're representing yourself as a real-life superhero. So remember that depending on the gear that you're wearing, you'll draw a lot of attention from those around you. This can be a powerful tool to draw attention to serious issues if done right, but can also work against you if you come off as arrogant or irritating, even unintentionally. My best advice is to be passive and inviting, but maintain your distance from passerby, especially at night. Avoid approaching people unless they've made it clear that they're welcoming you into the personal space. Even if you're out there with honest intentions, those who are unaware of your intents will be easily spooked by a strange person in a mask. In a dangerous and aggressive situation, if you're the only one in danger, there's no shame in a tactical retreat. There's no point in escalation of a situation if there's no other people in immediate danger. Retreat to a safe distance and inform the authorities immediately. Be extra cautious if you're on your own as opposed to part of a team. If you're left with no other choice but to defend yourself, do so with as little force as you can manage. If you've armored up, just take the blows, and if you absolutely have to fight back, Do so in a way that offers you and any victims a chance to escape, like I was talking about before. Create yourself an opening to get away. A good defensive tactic is to blind them temporarily with a flashlight if you have one powerful enough. 500 lumens should be strong enough to do the trick at night. Unfortunately, dollar store flashlights usually aren't strong enough to do that. So to wrap this up, by no means is this an extensive guide, but pay attention to my channel for more in-depth videos on specific subjects in the future. Do your own research and come up with a game plan. Most importantly, have a strong, clear idea of what your goals and intent as a real-life superhero are. Thanks for watching. Until next time. Nameless Crusader, signing off.